Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 4, the final day of the group stage of the 2024 Demacia Cup here on the new LPL English channel. We welcome you all. Hope you are having a very good Thursday morning, very early Thursday morning. My name is Graves, joined alongside Cubby for this day where we'll be covering Group B of the group stage. Again, the final group of the Demacia Cup, where we will find our final quarterfinalist before we get into that knockout stage next week. Cubby, you were here on the show earlier this week and excited to get to cover some more LPL gameplay with you.
Yeah, I know. I get 2 days of groups, long days, but it feels like they've been going by quickly. It's good to have some competitive league, even if it's on the old patch, not exactly prepping for the new season in terms of gameplay, but hey, in terms of getting these teams together and getting ready for the LPL season, has been fun to see some teams come together, and excited to see AL later today. And see if they can be a team that lives up to the excitement that a lot of people have.
Yeah, a lot of new rosters coming together that we're going to get the chance to talk about and break down throughout this. Again, a single round robin between these 4 teams. The best performing team after the end of the group stage will make it into the quarterfinals. They'll get to play against a BLG roster in that first round who actually are running a lot of their substitute players for this tournament. So a lot of stakes actually for this group, specifically for Anyone's Legends, which we'll get to talk about in just a little bit. But before we do that, we can take a look at our general schedule for today, just to get everybody set on who will be playing, of course, throughout. Our first matchup will be OMG versus Ultra Prime, followed again by Anyone's Legends in their debut in the Demacia Cup, playing against Super Gaming, a team representative from the Legends tournament that happened a couple months ago.
Yeah, I know. Fun to see Cacao on that team with Puff as well. A couple players that are still putting a little bit of time in. I know that's a really fun tournament, as we lovingly call it, the Old Man Tournament. But excited to see if they can have better, I should say, hopes than Team Blood, as I got to cast both Old Men in, day 1, day 4. I don't know if Kelsey is saying something, scheduling me for the 2 Old Men days, but, it wasn't great for Team Blood. So we'll see if Super Gaming can at least build upon whatever experience, whatever success that they had in the Old Man Cup.
Yeah, maybe not the best indication for Team Super Gaming, given that the team that beat them in that Old Man tournament just about a month ago, Blood, did go 0-3 on day 1. But overall, it's been a very exciting group stage so far. We saw both some of our favorites for the year, like Invictus Gaming yesterday, have a really dominant run, including that 16-minute win against RNG. And then even on day 1, another team that had a lot of high expectations, JDG, actually falling short and not qualifying into the knockout stage. So we're seeing some of our favorites for this upcoming season. Of course, we're going to see some more of them once we get into the quarterfinals, as other teams like Weibo, LNG, Top Esports, we're going to see them in the knockout stage. But interesting to see that, of course, in this single round robin best of 1 format, Cubby, even some of our favorites like JDG, not necessarily always locked in to qualifying immediately.
I know. I had a front row seat to that upset, so I'm thinking about that now, with Anyone's Legends being the favorite of this group. The ones that took that day 1 group, it actually ended up being Thunder Talk Gaming, another Kelsey favorite, and another Kelsey favorite that we have in the group today, UP, Ultra Prime. They're in the group, and excited to see them in our first game of the day today.
Yeah, they're going to be playing up against, oh my god, 2 teams that did not do super well in the last split of the LPL. We could take a look at the rosters of both their teams, as well as, of course, Anyone's Legends and Super Gaming, which we'll be seeing later today. Let's start, though, with this upcoming matchup that we're going to have here, Cubby, because both of these squads made pretty drastic changes coming into this season.
Yeah, I mean, we're lucky to have Kelsey, the source of LPL knowledge, behind us here, and according to her, Ultra Prime, a lot of internal promotions to get to where they were at, and tying that in with a couple of imports from the PCS, and Wonjong, who had a really promising rookie year, and Waco, a player that I'm really familiar with from the international stage. I thought that he actually played really well when we did see him make it to those tournaments, and excited to see how he can do in LPL going up against OMG, who also have pieced together a roster that included a few imports like Moham coming in from Worlds on that D+ roster. We'll see if he can have better luck at OMG and in the LPL.
Yeah, I do really like this Ultra Prime roster just from a build perspective. Even though we didn't see too many of these players, all of them, I believe, making their LPL debuts, if I'm not mistaken. You have Jinhao, who is coming from the BLG LDL roster, and then you have the internal promotions of Saber and Rossi Love. And then, of course, yeah, you remember a player like Wako from Worlds, whether it was on PSG last year or I think he played on, I think, J Team in years past as well. A nice veteran to kind of round out a lot of the young talent that is coming to this team. And, for a roster like Ultra Prime, who, you're not necessarily expecting to at least like contend towards the top of the standings with all the heavy hitters that we have. Fun to see that they're bringing in a lot of newer players, at least have a definitive direction that they are building their roster for this upcoming season.
Yeah, we always joke about how smaller teams have to play Moneyball, and especially in a league like LPL with some really heavy hitters and so many teams that exist in the league itself. Good to see a team like Ultra Prime really relying on talent they've developed in-house, as well as some talent that was promising elsewhere, as I know Kelsey has always been enthusiastic about top laners that show promise. Wonjong, a second year playing competitively. It's going to start today in the Demacia Cup, and we'll see what he can bring to the LPL, as I know that he was quite promising in the PCS.
Yeah, has a very fun champion pool as well. Very good Jax player. Also 5-1 on Riven last season. That's one of his signature champions. If you're a North American fan, like some of us are here on the desk, General Sniper, a rookie that came into the LCS, played a lot of Riven, and ended up having a very solid rookie campaign. Maybe we see something similar from Wonjong here on this UP roster. But on the other side, let's talk about Oh My God for a little bit, retaining 2 of their players from the 2024 season, that being their ADC Starry and their top laner Harry, and then of course filling it in both with some internal promotions like Linfeng that you mentioned, and then of course also Moham, who was also just very recently on the international stage.
Yeah, well, it's been quite the journey for Moham as he stepped in for Kellen in D+ Gaming. I will say he had some really good moments in the LCK, but being a rookie on a roster that has massive names like Showmaker, oftentimes you're the one that catches the flack, and some of it rightfully so for Moham at Worlds, but I've seen some really good games from him in LCK, and I'm hoping we can see more as the power of the bull cut from LCK Challengers League making its way all the way over here to LPL, and we'll see if Chronicler's Boy can continue to perform well. I know Moham is someone that I feel like has always showed some promise, and when it comes to rookie supports, they definitely have a soft spot in my heart. Yeah, when a support messes up, you are going to see some minting. We definitely saw that from Moham at times, but we've also seen some really big plays. So, hoping to see more of the bright side of the coin from Moham in LPL.
Yeah, first a new fresh start here in a new league with Oh My God. And I think honestly, this is a very fun game to have as the first one leading off this group stage, because again, format of this group is a single round robin of best of ones, and these are the 2 kind of middle teams, right?
Yeah.
In terms of what we're expecting out of them. I think Anyone's Legends definitely the favorite. Super Gaming from the Legends Cup, probably the biggest underdogs. And then you have these 2 teams in the middle that are both trying to make a name for themselves coming into this season. And both will be getting the chance to play Anyone's Legends later on. And so the winner of this game definitely gets a big advantage in terms of having at least the potential to be that Thunder Talk, to be the team that to upset the group favorite later today.
Yeah, I know later on, I'll be excited to see what kind of form Tarzan is in. He was fantastic in summer on Weibo and could really be the anchor for Anyone's Legends, whether that's the anchor of everyone playing well around him or bringing the team down, as we've seen happen with Tarzan sometimes in the past. But I have a lot of confidence in Tarzan. I thought that he played some great League in the summer. Excited to see those games, but Grapes hopping into this first one. I know that bot lane is definitely a spot that we're really curious about, with Wako coming in from the PCS, Moham coming in from LCK, seeing how these new pieces meld in their new teams.
Yeah, I mean, 2 players that have been on the international stage. The support matchup between these 2 players, between these 2 teams, is also pretty interesting. Moham, as you mentioned, big engaged player, loved the rel in the summer split of the LCK. Whereas on the other side, Rosilov actually has experience on a number of enchanters during their time in the LDL. Things like Karma, also Senna and Nami, even range supports like the Ashe, which is not necessarily something that we often see in Eastern League of Legends. A lot of the time, the support players are the primary initiators. They love to go in.
Leona duty.
Yeah, exactly. So maybe a bit of a different playstyle from this Ultra Prime bottom lane, which would be interesting to see if they decide to prioritize that in the draft, stick to what was working for them on their LDL team, or if they decide to go more towards that traditional engage meta.
Yeah, so far we have seen that in the tournament, but of course when you have a player, always like to see some flair come out, some of which we have seen. I think Galio's been a little bit of a surprise. We've seen him outside of just the Rumble counter match up top. Really has emerged in this tournament. And of course, Ambessa, that brand new champion, as well as the Victor, who did just get buffs from Arcane pretty much. Both those picks have been very dominant in the meta. So curious to see if that continues today, or if as this tournament goes on, we see some teams finding some answers throughout the meta.
Yeah, I mean, it's fun because we're kind of in that halfway point between, we're past the Worlds meta, but we're before Season 15, so you get to see a little bit of some of these new champions like the Victor and the Ambessa. You know, someone like Flandre, I'm excited to see if he could potentially whip that one out there.
He does have the Ambessa video that the LPL made with him, so we'll have to see.
I mean, he's got to... I feel like if it's not banned, you got to do it a little bit, at least for content. Maybe in this first game that they have against Super Gaming. Although he is playing against Longxing, who is another top laner who has a ton of international experience. So
yeah, excited to see. But yeah, Grapes, hopefully we get into that first game quickly. I will say, I was part of the curse on day 1 where we went through a successful pick ban, and then we had a legendary 1-hour stall. Of course, we didn't have VODs enabled for that one, unfortunately. But shout out to our team behind the scenes, been working really hard to help us level up already. Do have VODs enabled and also a YouTube stream as well. So hopefully you're enjoying your LPL with some traditional broadcast coverage wherever you can find. And excited to hop into our first game, and hopefully everything runs on time, Grapes, as we're diving right on.
I know. So I remember actually tuning into that first day with you and Mazel, watching the draft, and I said, okay, I'm gonna tune out for a couple minutes and then come in with some of the later games, and then I come back and the game hasn't even started.
Still the same game.
So, yeah,
you know what the funny part was?
A lot of stalling.
Because Team Blood's hands just progressively fell off as the day went through, we still ended on time. So
right,
easy.
Right. Hopefully we don't get any of that. Hopefully, this second day with Cubby on.
They have Super Gaming in the late slot. We'll see if they're still awake by then.
Yeah, do you think it's just the old man cup teams that just have trouble getting into game? They don't know exactly what's going on. I know it's a remote group stage, but
who knows? Could be.
All right, we're into the draft for game number 1. OMG on the blue side, Ultra Prime on the red side. There's that Ashe that we were talking about a little bit that Rossi Love does like to play. Can of course be that flex towards Wako as well, and it's going to be the Rumble locked in first for Harry. Played it a little bit in his last season when he was on OMG. And so going to be a pretty solid top lane pick to start things off.
Yeah, kind of curious actually what happens with the ADs, because when I see champs like Ashe and Varus off the table, Kalista comes to mind as an option, but Renata's off the board as well. So really feel like this AD pool is narrowed up a little bit, but now that Rumble's picked up, taking away at least the Vi combo, that point and click, laying out the red carpet on top of that cease and assist is quite the combo. Instead, we're going to have that with the Aurora for Ultra Prime. So big R's already locked in for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, we're seeing that Ambessa being hovered for now. What's left unbanned will be locked in, actually. So we'll see where exactly that goes, either the mid lane or the top lane. You could flex that around a little bit if you wanted to.
Yeah. I mean, off the bat, we'll see. I know the Aurora Rumble matchup, it's quite skewed in terms of power. Rumble needs a little bit of time to really be able to sustain the Aurora damage that comes out early and can get shoved around a bit until he gets a few levels, whereas Ambessa, that's going to be... I'm really interested to see where they decide to put these champs and what else comes out. But as we go throughout this draft, of course, Corki locked in. We aren't expecting any Ambessa jungles, so I'm going to say that Corki's going to be in the bot lane, as that's one of the strong OP 80 carries that also gets freed up a bit from the Ashe and Varus bans as Cassante rounds out the first phase for Ultra Prime.
Yeah, so we got a full top side locked in here for Ultra Prime. Wako and Rossi Love have not locked in their champions yet, so we're expecting to probably see some more bot lane target bans here for OMG as we enter this second phase. Still a little bit of flexibility, though, on OMG side, what they want to do with the solo laner specifically, although we are expecting Starry to be piloting that Corki down there in the bottom lane. It seems like right now, they also Ultra Prime also not expecting that Ambessa jungle, as Nocturne is one of their first bans.
Caitlyn's taken away, so taking some of the bad matchups for Corki off the board. Again, curious what happens with Kalista, as Renata, the best pairing for Kalista off the board. We'll see if that still is in consideration. But it is something where, if you're comfortable playing it, you don't have to ban something like Jarvan here. And it will be a Sejuani ban. So you do have two melee solo laners. Taking that synergy off the board going to be the choice for Ultra Prime. But It did leave up a lot of early aggressive junglers, the likes of Xin Zhao doesn't like interacting with Kasante later on, but might be an option. Also, Jarvan, if you want to create that hot pot combo with Rumble, that's going to be an option for Hong if he wants it.
I mean, you also could
Poppy Band
go.
too.
You also could go a little bit more on the supportive side, something like, I don't know, like a Maokai or something with a little bit less damage. You already have a ton of damage on OMG's side. Hung doesn't necessarily need to be another threat in terms of putting out the DPS. So smart to take away that Sejuani, I would say, from Ultra Prime. Let's see what this pick is going to be. Wako walking in the Ezreal
special
here, adding a lot of extra range. Him in the Aurora going to be doing a lot of damage from far away.
You know, I think the Poppy Bam was a bit of a tell that champs like Jarvan, Rel were in consideration here for OMG. So taking Ezreal, something that can at least shift away from all that or play at a lot of range and can outrange Corki still. You don't have that dominant of an early lane. Corki should be able to have push, even with the support counter, an option for Ultra Prime. But Ezreal scales really nicely in this game. And all those wombos and synergies that we were talking about with the Rumble off the board and with this Gnar hover. You know, the one thing we haven't mentioned, Graves, throughout all this is a potential Rumble jungle coming in. If this Gnar gets locked in, that could be a thing.
That would be my expectation if the Gnar gets locked in.
It can't be Gnar.
It's something that Harry plays a decent amount.
Whoa.
Can match the Kasante a little bit in that 1v1. So I think we are going to see Hong playing that Rumble in the jungle for this first game. Can definitely clear fast, although not necessarily as fast as it used to back when it was super strong. Also seeing Moham on his signature rel for his first game in the LPL with the Demacia Cup. Final pickup here for Rosilov is going to be the Rakan. So we asked the question, will it be more engaged champions like the current meta or more of an enchanter style like they have been playing in years past? Looks like we're going to see option A here for this first draft.
I think it's really important for Ultra Prime to get this mid lane matchup going in their favor. You have Ezreal, Rakan, your ability to move to play towards topside will be big. So I expect to see Rosilov really make his way towards that top side, try and have an impact on the Gnar, the Mbessa, and those lanes, so that you have this strong core when you are able to press R for Ultra Prime that can be big. Also interested to see if they try any funny business against Rumble here on the invade. Says when he doesn't have access to all of his abilities, it's kind of hard for him to overheat, or something he needs to win those duels. So you do have the option to try and mess with him early. Vi, though, very weak until she gets level 3. So curious if we have any funny business there. Yeah.
I think the bot lane is also going to be pretty fascinating for this one. The Ezreal the Ezreal Rakan combo for Wako and Rosilov allows for this rookie support to actually get out on the map a little bit and see what they are made of. I think an interesting part of this Ultra Prime team is the fact that they have two pairs of teammates from last year. They have Wanjiang and Wako from, of course, Frank Esports into PCS, and they also have Saber and Rosilov who played together on Ultra Prime's developmental team in 2024. So you could see more of those roams on the Rakan up to the mid lane to try and support Saber a little bit because of that existing synergy. That's always a fun thing to track going into, of course, a tournament where a lot of that synergy doesn't necessarily exist, as we saw a little bit yesterday with RNG.
Yeah, well, I mean, their synergy was just working in the wrong direction, Graves. We'll put it that way.
You don't lose in 16 minutes without it being maybe the first time that you guys are playing together. I think it was confirmed actually that those guys only got a couple days of scrims, even though of course you had a lot of really talented players, someone like Milky Way who had such a great year last year, even on that team. When I woke up and saw that they went 0-3, I was pretty surprised, not gonna lie, especially that result against Invictus Gaming. But yeah, I hopefully we don't see that from Ultra Prime because they have had experience together, as we do head onto the Rift for our first game of the final day of the group stage for the 2024 Demacia Cup.
Yeah, we've had a few surprises throughout, so excited to see if we get any more. I mean, one being this Rumble jungle. A flex that I just not necessarily expecting, but also it puts the Mbessa mid. I am familiar with Mbessa mid, but I've yet to really see this matchup against Aurora. I'm going to assume that Aurora wins out early, just being ranged versus melee, but curious at one point we get Linfeng on this Ambessa to somewhat break things back in the Ambessa's favor, as I assume that once we get a few levels under the Ambessa, should be able to at least survive some of the sustain or poke that Aurora dishes out with second wind, D-Shield, and just levels under her belt.
Yeah, also has gone with the Grasp the Undying, so maybe a little bit difficult to get those procs early in the laning phase, but can provide value in a straight up 1v1 with the HP that you do generate here. So no early funny business in terms of the jungle pathing, although we do see Starry and Moham taking control of this bottom side brush to start things off. Rel very strong level 1, having both you know, the crash down and the remount on the W ability.
Yeah, it should be okay here, though, for Wako and Ultra Prime. Ezreal, of course, with the Qs and the passive. Really strong level 1 as well. And as we look at the junglers, we did have Rumble start off on the AoE camp, and Vi going for a rather long clear, going Raptors, Wolves, so really prioritizing the early respawns to get the bonus XP on those camps that come back. But Rumble will be making their way to the top side. And Vi, gonna match, just gonna be a little bit further behind.
Yeah, Rumble hung with the Dark Harvest as well on this champion, as well as the red smite. I feel like a lot of the time we see either blue or green, so showing really prioritizing the DPS, the raw damage that this champion can put out in these early duels when overheated. That is going to be a priority for the OMG jungler. A little bit of a trading here on the top side of the map. The first LPL game for Wonjiang. Not on a carry, it will be on K'Sante duty. Maybe it's just, you know, the rookie tax that he has to pay. But I was hoping that we maybe saw him on a more aggressive, higher damage champion.
I mean, the rookie tax is the fact that they shifted Rumble into the jungle, so he's got to play against Gnar. Much more favorable matchup in the top side for Gnar, who does have the ability to space the Qs and can really poke out K'Sante. Does have to be careful around those all-in windows in 6. And that's the one thing I do like about Ultra Prime's comp. Feels like with this K'Sante and hopefully Rakan as well, they can really peel for Wako. As OMG, they have to go all in and make sure that that all in connects. There's a little bit of anti-synergy between Gnar and Rumble too, if you don't throw them into a wall. So we'll see if Harry can be on point with Hong to try and set those up.
We see the power of the Rumble jungle right here, a faster clear. Junhao kind of doing it to himself as well with just having a path that requires a lot more distance to walk as he went top to bot back to top lane.
Yeah.
Now going to try to fight for this bottom side Scuttlecraft. Looks like he's going to get there first, and Hung doesn't have Smite to try and steal it away.
Should be okay. Mid prio is in favor of Saber and the Aurora, as Moham not able to connect with that Q, and we'll take nice punishment for it from Wako.
Yeah. Stun did not connect on that Shattering Strike, so Rossi able to get out pretty fine and dandy, but now with Hung back to the bottom side of the map to clear out those Raptors once again. OMG gonna have a very easy time shoving this wave in, maybe getting a reset off.
Yeah, they want to slow push that one and rotate up the top. So with that stacking wave and Rumble finishing this clear bottom, fully expect to see Starry and Moham work their way up to the top side after this one to prep for the early grubs, where I gotta say I'm kind of curious to see how this one sets up, because I think that the Rs are really strong for OMG, but Rumble's not going to have 6 yet for the grub fight. And if Rumble doesn't have 6, then I think I favor the champions of Ultra Prime. Just curious to see how they end up resetting here, as we do see Moham working his way towards mid, and the giveaway here is going to be where Starry goes, which I expect to be topside as well.
With the reset, actually,
oh, no.
Walking towards bot to start things off.
Interesting.
Maybe they are aware of the fact that Hung will not be level 6 when these grubs do spawn, and so instead seeding it to try and go for the dragon instead. You see Moham also rotating around that, trying to get vision in that area. Meanwhile, the Ultra Prime bottom lane headed towards the top side of the map. They want those grubs back.
I mean, this is the standard right now in League. It's, as we see, Wonjiang, nice spacing there. Able to step away from that one, does ding 6, and we'll be able to walk bot. We'll see if he's able to hold TPs. Speaking of TPs, did have Saber and Linfeng both burn theirs to get back to mid. And all eyes here on the grubs. Moham doing, leeching a lot of experience away from mid lane here on this wave. Not going to help him get any new access to levels, as he does have a fresh 4 on his shoulders. And this early setup, I really favor Ultra Prime. I'm very surprised that Starry didn't go top when they had that bot lane shoved in. I thought that'd be just a freebie. Now K'Sante can walk down. He has TPs, so everyone can interact with grubs or Ultra Prime. And with Corki not being bot, they can't stall wave and just have Cassante win bot if they want to.
Yeah, it's going to be a 4v3 for the time being. However, Starry and Linfeng have the opportunity to walk up now. First grub will be secured by OMG, but now full control of the pit here for Ultra Prime. However, it is now becoming 5v4. Wonjiang did use that teleport to try and join the fight and has a nice flank along the bottom side of the grub pit. Fight for that last grub right now. Not going to be secured by anybody, but instead it's going to be the public execution onto Saber first, who uses the Between Worlds to try and generate some space from himself and the rest of the team. Rosie Love in the back line trying to escape after going for a flank, but it will be first blood secured by OMG as it is the jungler Hung picking it up.
All right, so pretty much just sack support for a second grub there for Ultra Prime. Not all bad. We're going to have to see how the teams respond. I was a bit curious that Cassante ended up TPing there. I thought that Wonjiang might have been able to walk, but no. I will say Saber did a nice job at interrupting the backline there. I really liked how he used the Between Worlds to hide himself in the pit, but it felt like Ultra Prime just weren't on the same target, and it was Rossi Love from behind. It just ended up being caught out and didn't really have anything going.
Look at that replay right here again. It starts with the Ambessa going for the flash ultimate, but yeah, watch this ultimate here from Saber. He's buying so much space.
Yeah, Rossi just flashed to the wrong side of the fight, and Ultra Prime, they just had to kite that one out. I was a bit curious in terms of at least how that fight would work out early on. It did seem like Ultra Prime just not quite synced up, and that engage taken from OMG was responsible for splitting them a bit. So props to OMG as they were able to find a little something for themselves. And then we get back into the side lanes where the Gnar is laning with the Rel, and Corki was able to get a little bit of solo XP in the mid lane.
Yeah, interesting lane setups right now for OMG. We'll see if they try to reset it at all, as now Linfeng heading just place a little bit of vision on the bottom side. We're reset a little bit here in this one, as the OMG bottom lane will just try and take control of the mid lane, at least for now. This is maybe a matchup that you might be a little bit more familiar with, the Cassante versus the Ambessa. I feel like we've seen mostly Ambessa in the top lane, but Linfeng showing that he has the dexterity on the champion as well.
Yeah, at the moment, map's kind of interesting. I do like the fact that Ultra Prime are giving Wako some solo gold and XP. Ezreal, uniquely, early items have cheaper breakpoints. You can get to the 2 items like early, which a lot of people talk about, but also a lot of your damage comes from your abilities, just being a caster. And if Ezreal does get access to that solo gold XP levels, means a lot for Ezreal's damage. So I did kind of like how Ultra Prime were trying to manipulate the map a bit to get Wako some free time. Usually this is the perks of the Ezreal Rakan combo. You can just kind of leave Ezreal to his own devices and it's okay. We do see Rossi work his way back up, but this could be a little bit tricky because Rumble's going for an invade on the top side. And he's going to take that red buff away for free.
Yeah, I don't know if necessarily Jinhan knows that that's happening, but without much vision of where the bot lane right now for OMG is, has to definitely be very careful. That's a really nice steal away from Hung, who has gotten himself a bit of a lead with that first blood kill, as well as now 2 camps in advantage over Jinhao, working towards that Liandry's first item, and that'll be a really big power spike for the Rumble, who now has the ultimate, as he did not have it in the first grub fight.
Yeah, and being solo magic damage on the carry, being ahead, this flex pick surprised us a little bit, Graves, but Hong piloting it quite well, as the Liandry's has been completed on the base. No one sniffed the dragon yet, and with grub spawning, we'll see if it's just another full group for this. Again, if you manage to find a 4-2 or a 5-1 grub advantage, it can really shape the landscape of the rest of the game, just forcing on sides and always trading up because of the grubs. But we'll have to pause here, as hopefully we can get out of this one quickly and get back into the game.
I was ready to get into this one. I know you had the big delays game number 1, and I thought we got through that, but we're gonna have to take a bit of a pause right now. A reminder that all the players are actually playing remotely for the group stage. I believe the knockout stage will be in person, but for now, all the players, not live in studio, which means that sometimes you get these little technical delays, as Cubby, of course, you were pretty familiar with from earlier this week. But right now, oh my god.
I might have cursed it. I mentioned that day 1 we didn't have a VOD for it, but now, day 4 we have VODs up, and if we have to have another 1-hour stall where we get as out there as Yanni and I did, this time it's going to be recorded. right for everyone, you know.
And so the world will remember it forever.
Hopefully not. That's not the point of pauses, but you know, I certainly gonna remember that one for a while. We got get a bit out there.
Yeah, it's late here in the States where we both are, so we'll see how unhinged things get as we continue to progress
Yeah,
throughout the
it's
day.
like 3:20 in the morning for you over
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
Yeah,
So I know that it's like midnight for you in
yeah.
California, so it's kind of like the oh I can just say I'm staying up late right now, but
I'm on the Hollywood schedule, man. We're working night
yeah,
shifts.
I'm right on the border of like do I wake up early or do I stay up late? Today I chose the latter, but that could change maybe.
That I feel bad for you. It's a wake up early angle, always great.
No, it's okay. I had one of those naps like a few hours ago where it's like you wake up and you feel like you're on like a different like astral plane, and so I'm feeling pretty good right now. It was only an hour, but it really hit.
Oh, back in the astral plane the Rift exists in, as second grubs have spawned and Ultra Prime have early control. Moham gonna try and work this one as Harry almost has Mega. Gonna work on
Good
poking them
guard
out,
timing
get the
as
TP to
well.
land.
Teleport
Yeah,
from Lin Feng. It looks like that's going to be enough.
they got control.
Allow Ultra Prime to just give up that full control. Let's see if they decide to go back in once Harry's Narbar gets a little bit lower. Jinhao still has that ultimate. Could try to go in with the smite. At least trying to secure an even trade, but here comes the Between Worlds Equalizer over the top. But OMG winning this fight heavily for now. Harry flashes away from the Cassante as Wenjiang now stuck in a 1v3. Moham on the other side will fall, but it will be good for OMG.
Ooh.
Here comes the ultimate from Lin Feng. Another one team fight. They've already got 3. They're trying to make it 4 as Wako falls. The big winner in this one, Starry, he gets himself a double kill.
Grub split, but OMG wins the fight as, again, Hong so big on this Rumble, and the engage was rather sound from Ultra Prime, but that equalizer in response and how fed this Rumble is early on did work against Ultra Prime, really helped get this fight in OMG's favor early on.
Yeah, now Hung on the Rumble Jungle, the pick that we were not necessarily expecting. 2-0 and 3 as we head into this replay. I mean, brave, very brave, I should say, for Ultra Prime to try to go in on this one.
And Junhao sent it. But look at that equalizer. Like, it splits everyone up. Saber, Wako, they couldn't follow up on this fight. The carries were too far back. And with that, OMG were able to absorb the initial engage, turn it back on Ultra Prime as the public execution from Lin Feng, really sending the last 2 members of Ultra Prime to their death. And now OMG back on the map. Dragon has not been touched yet. OMG, they're the ones on the objective looking to secure that one for themselves too.
Yeah, no big ultimates for Ultra Prime available after that last fight. And so with OMG getting there first, they're able to pick up that first dragon of the game. Now find themselves up about 2,000 gold and 4 kills. So a very good start for a very storied organization in the LPL as well, Cubby. I know before the game we were talking about their numerous logos and things like that, but this is an organization that's been around for a very long time. It's been a while since we've seen them have a ton of success. Their best finish in either split last year was a 9th, 10th in the spring, but with some of these newer players, I do like the direction that we could see from them in 2025.
Yeah, the last time that OMG was really relevant for me was when they were developing, you know, players like Shanji, like Cream on the same roster. I don't know if this roster has the same firepower that some of those guys did, but again, OMG, much like Ultra Prime, in a league like LPL, there are so many teams that are big spenders, not to mention so many teams in general, so you really have to find your way to cheat talent and make sure that you get first access to them, but we'll see if this batch for OMG can bite back and maybe give some good looks to this new logo that looks absolutely terrible. As
I know you have some very strong takes, I should say.
This logo sucks. Like the old Suning logo, it looks like they just ripped that off and made it worse. I do not know. I do not know like who got paid for this, but whoever did, congrats on creating the Illuminati of logos.
Yeah, the big I on the top, which I guess is the O, and then you have like the M and the G.
Yeah, they wanted to get away from religious connotation and just made an Illuminati logo. You know, it's crazy.
Hey, the old one was solid. I mean, it had like you could actually like really tell.
Oh, it was iconic.
Thing, yeah, it was. I mean, of course, iconic. It's been around for years. So.
Yeah.
It's gonna take a little bit of getting used to, I think.
Well, at the moment, Ultra Prime getting used to this map state. They are down 2.5k gold. Gnar stacking up the Mega. to get that wave in. Has a TP. Wonjong taking a lot of poke as public execution.
Oh, but it gets out-buffered a little bit here by the Pathfinder, and that means Linfeng could be in a bad spot, but looks like this Ambessa just heals a little bit too much. The Eclipse
Where's the
shield
follow-up?
as well, and there's a 3-man Gnar from Harry. Locks down, Junhao will take him down, and it's another clean wipe for OMG in that topside river. They're now up 8-1.
I mean, Wonjong and Rosilov did a decent job of actually giving their carries a chance to play that fight after the Between Worlds came out, but everyone was stun-locked hitting Shelly. They were trying to take down the Rift Herald while the utility was stun-locking the rest of the team. Absolutely no follow-up means the fight goes over to OMG. The Herald, too, and Ultra Prime, it's looking worse and worse for them.
Yeah, and what an ultimate from Harry on the Gnar as well. Locking up 3 players there. We're going to see that in this replay.
I mean, this start's good. Like, Wonjong's too far off. Public execution gets him stuck, but the response to this isn't bad. Actually pulls him back. Equalizer didn't hit, but look at Wako and Saber. Like, after this is a decent turn from Rosilov. Wonjong, his health bar is already gone. Vi doesn't want to go in. Wako and Saber are in their respective Narnia locations. Absolutely no follow-up from Ultra Prime, as the re-engage might have been taken a little bit too far up. I think that's fair as well. Either way, team not on the same page. They go down, objective loss, and this gold deficit keeps on getting worse and worse.
And perhaps the most tragic part of it all was that I think Ultra Prime were the ones to last hit the Herald, but they weren't able... Oh, wait, no. I don't think so.
Now, they got the Herald. They used the takedown, or OMG used the Herald to take down mid, so and it's only getting worse.
Gold up to 5,000 now. After that first group fight, or that second group fight, it was about 2,000. So you can see how quickly this game really can snowball right now. They pick up this bottom side tier 1 as well. Harry, again, man, just, you know, he got a pretty unique opportunity, I would say, last summer to be the starting top laner of this team, and, you know, ends up getting another chance to get a full year under his belt with this organization. And so far, in the first game at least, in the Demacia Cup, doing pretty well.
Well, the success of Ambessa continues in this tournament as well, but Ambessa might be actually caught. Okay, no, we're not going to have any jokes here. I will say, Linfeng had backup in case Wonjong wanted to get interesting with that, but instead it's Junhao looking to get interesting in the top side. Dragon is spawning, maybe looking to catch out Ambessa, and at least surprise them with the jungler being top. You can see Ultra Prime already reaching with moves like this, fully sacking that objective on the bot side. They have to lean on the scaling of Ezreal, who is very far behind at this point, if they want anything. Maybe if it goes late, Wako can get something, but oh boy, here we go.
They're really trying to
Wait, what?
Looks like the ultimate actually here by Linfeng's ulti. Now, there's the overload on the top side of the bottom lane shows up. It will be Saber picking up the kill and an immediate teleport to mid lane to try to save the tier 2 tower.
Yeah, but that's the Kasante, not the Aurora, who joined that fight on the top side. So this turret's going down, not to mention bot being pushed in as well by the Gnar. So yeah, Ultra Prime, they get a little something, look at a shutdown, but still the train keeps on rolling for OMG as a lot of tools invested to get that kill, not a lot in return. OMG continue to push forward.
You know, all things considered, don't hate this move at all. You know, you are losing this game by a lot if you are Ultra Prime.
Yeah.
You might as well try to force a play. You are trading equal or even more gold on the other side, as it is going to be OMG picking up that tier 2 turret in the bot lane as well as the mid lane tier 2. So they're definitely getting gold, but at least Ultra Prime is getting some resources in the right places.
Yeah, they got objective bounty and an inner, whereas the other team got 2 winners and will get Dragon. If you think they're going to lose the fight in the first place and lose Dragon, I mean, might as well make something happen. The objective bounty evens it out a little bit, but still, Ultra Prime down 5k gold. Still think their major hope, it really lies on Wako's shoulders on this Ezreal. He has the ability to play from range, space everything, and poke people out. I think that's the difference maker that they're going to need. They want to push through this one, because at the moment, looking pretty grim with a lot of this lead being on Hong's shoulders on this Rumble. He is massive. Zanya's completed Graves. He's going to be a problem in these fights.
3-0 and 5. He got the early jungle lead. I think as soon as he stole away that second spawning of the red buff, it's just been a bigger and bigger spiral from there. Actually, you know, having 40 CS, 43 CS more, and 2,500 gold more than Junhao at this point. You know, pretty good stuff for Hung, who didn't have necessarily the best year last season, but going to try to make the most of this starting opportunity. Now OMG looking for Saber here in the bottom side. Does get hit by the Electro Harpoon, but he pops between worlds to make sure he's able to get out.
Very safe between worlds. Jinhao was trailing, but Rumble with that completed Zanya is too big to be messed with. As we'll say Jinhao going for the Black Cleaver second, the traditional LPL jungler build. It feels like no matter what champ they play, if it's a fighter, it's just Sundered Sky and the Black Cleaver. We delay the Sterex, doesn't matter. We go offense, and we'll let K'Sante be the tank.
I mean, might as well at this point try to lock down one of those key targets, whether it is Hung or maybe Starry on the Corki as well. Try to blow him all up, blow one of these players up before the fight really does begin. Talk about those red buffs again, going to be targeted once more, but Wako could be in trouble. The equalizer goes over the top. Moham going to get you know, zoned out here by Rosilov, who will be the sacrifice to make sure that his 80 carry will survive, but another kill nonetheless going to OMG.
See how frisky they want to get with the Baron. I will say, with the Equalizer and Public Execution burned, 3 ults as well. I didn't see Rel's ult used, but Moham. That's a lot invested to make sure that's a dead Rakan. And honestly, not for too much. If they get another pick, could be big, but Wako is going to scout.
Oh, but here comes Moham
we walked
here
up
with
still.
the crash down. Junhao going to go down, but it will be a trade of the OMG support. But that's going to be enough, I think, for them to just pull the Baron. You take that jungler for support trade any day of the week.
Yeah, Smite's off the map, and despite the ultimates being down, OMG feel confident enough to start the Baron, and there's no answer yet for Ultra Prime. TP coming in, it's going to be quite late. They're going to get Vision, 6k.
Yeah, so Wako already had to also go back to base. Did not already use that Hex ultimate as well. The Smite will be secured by Hung as Saber jumped over the wall to try to make something happen. Will Rossi go a little bit frisky to try and counter the escape from OMG? Looks like the answer is no. Big objective secured by OMG as they're looking in firm control of this game.
Part of me wants to praise OMG for how they played that sequence. I think at least dipping into fog and baiting this is good, but you're checking this with Ezreal. I don't know why Junhao is that far up as Moham hits the Q flash engage. Yes, he goes down, but as you stated, Grapes, trading yourself out for a jungler at this point of the game as support, that's worth it every time, as that bought enough space and damage on Wako to make sure that Baron went over relatively uncontested.
Yeah, seeing some nice plays from Moham. Of course, garnered a lot of criticism for his World performance, was kind of thrown onto that roster seemingly last minute, as D plus Kia didn't end up having, you know, the showing that they wanted. But
I mean, since this isn't an official Riot product, I can kind of flame Kellen a little bit. I think it's still an upgrade from Kellen, let's be honest. That guy's been checked out for a little bit. But
hey, right now, looking pretty good.
Yeah, Moham, it's his rel. He's always good in this pick. So really good to see him performing in his debut for OMG as the top inner falls. Wako will base after taking the bot outer. The siege starts on the top lane inhibitor turret.
Not a ton of minions to work with right now. We'll see if Rosilov goes in right now. Instead, going to use the Grand Entrance to just escape. Really trying to take out that control ward for now. True Shot Barrage does a decent amount of damage.
Yep.
OMG going to be alright. They have one Ocean Dragon, and they're still perfectly in the lead. Look at the equalizer over the top. Perfect public execution onto Wonjong as well. Already 2 fall, as it will be Hung picking up another kill on this jungle. Junhao, a last-ditch effort to try to survive, but it will not be enough. That is 3 kills already, and now just the big carries for Ultra Prime to try to save the game. Between Worlds does a lot of damage, and it actually will be a kill for Saber onto Moham. And now Wako can try to cook a little bit here on the Ezreal. Harry has to jump away, and OMG not going to be able to end the game just yet.
Yeah, it looks like, you know, Rosilov might have been stuck watching at the new logo for OMG that represents the Rising Stun, as the lights were a bit too bright as he tried to go in there. He ended up getting combo. Couldn't do anything on that Rakan engage, as a lot of blood picked up here for OMG. Yeah, found Mbessa. You're down 6 doubles. That's the newest champ of the game. Good luck. Good flash away from the public execution, but you got your top laner stuck and flashed into Harry. Not exactly what Rosilov was looking for right there, as everyone else just kind of gets ran down. Jinhao going in, trying to save Wako. Has to sack his life to get his 80 carry out. But Wako still does his flash. Can be really nice for OMG in the next fight. Yes, Moham goes down, but I think that's okay, as Dragon should be secured from OMG, and this push should continue as we get back into live.
will say. The one
Oh,
advantage right now that Ultra Prime has in terms of the gold is with Saber on the Aurora, who picked up his 4th kill in that last fight there. Has 2 completed items, so could be something to take a look at, although there's still a massive mountain to climb for Ultra Prime. Remember, we said at the start of the stream, Cubby, this is a very big game because only one team out of this group of 4 makes it out. And of course, with both of these squads having to play Anyone's Legends later today, big advantage for them. They now kind of control their own destiny in a way if you are OMG, looking forward to the rest of the day.
Yeah, and if I'm Ultra Prime after this game, I'd be a little bit worried about the old man team even in Super Gaming, as it's not been a great look for them. As Ultra Prime, not the debut they were looking for. Still like the promise of some of their roster, and we'll see if Saber can live up to it.
Yeah, Between Worlds lands on to 3. Hung pops the Zanyas, and looks like the Equalizer only hitting onto the tanks for now. Right now, Junhao trying to dive the backline, but the backline of his own team is getting zoned out themselves. Another double kill for Hung. Wako gonna get singled out by Harry, and that should do it. No ultimate available for Saber. Those you love there, the only 2 survivors left in the base.
Yeah, it felt like, I mean, Saber, I kind of respect the flank, but you had Junhao going onto the Corki, and then Kasante ulting away from the Corki, as he was a little bit split up from the rest of the team, and that was the story here for Ultra Prime this game. They felt like every objective fight they took, they were split up in some way, shape, or form, and you can't do that against any team at this level of League of Legends. OMG took full advantage, and ended up pushing this one through.
On to the Nexus turrets they go. Linfeng doing some Mbessa things as Moham goes under the fountain for 1 proc, but should be able to survive as the Nexus falls. Less than 26 minutes. And what's up, OMG? A dominant win in the first game of Demacia Cup today.
Yeah, good start for them in their season. Gotta say, the synergy that we saw from Moham and some of the other members, rather solid. But the standout for me in that one has to be Hong using that Rumble Flex in the jungle. He got himself ahead early, had some strong equalizers to help split an already split up Ultra Prime, and for me, he was the MVP of that game.
Yeah, definitely a really solid performance from him. He's somebody who had his struggles, had his ups and downs in the last year when he played on WE. I think he got benched about halfway through the summer split, but still was able to find his way onto a starting roster. Always has these little pocket picks. I think he played a lot of Nunu back in the day. Now whipping out another AP jungler here in the Rumble as OMG pick up their first win of the group stage. They have to still, of course, play against Anyone's Legend, but with the performance that we saw from them, you know, we'll see what they look like against that team that was supposed to be a dominant favorite potentially in the LPL.
Yeah, it was a good start for them. And on the flip side, Up Stonks are down to start off the season, as they didn't give you a lot of promise there for the rest of the game. They were very split up. It felt like they, at times, were macro-wise, they were the first grubs, but really botched that fight. And then mid-fight, we saw members just going for different people. So it is a team where, as you mentioned, Graves has some members that have previous experience together, but didn't really see them melding that together for the first game. Something to look out for in the rest of the day for them.
Yeah, you know, still is very early on. Of course, some of these teams maybe not getting a ton of scrims in just yet, but if you are Ultra Prime, you know, there's still a lot of promise to the way that this roster was built. Just not necessarily in this game as we take a look at the goal charts, all that jazz. Very OMG favorite here in game.
That's a jungle diff. That's looking like Junhao looking like he's me if I'm autofill jungle, as that's a role that I don't play anymore. He got obliterated there by Hong in this game. Wow. Vi not doing much. Sometimes tough when you do fall behind as Vi, but again, a lot of the engages that we saw were just split from Ultra Prime. So I gotta say, if we don't see Vi again from them later on in the day, I wouldn't be too disappointed about that, as we didn't really see him syncing up with Rossi Love, didn't see him syncing up with Wonjong in terms of trying to find those backline members. So really rough start here for Ultra Prime, but hey, OMG can't start much better than that, man. And Hong, again, kind of curious to see what happens with this Rumble later on. We thought it was going to be in the hands of Harry, but now it's almost a dual threat pick. Curious if it draws bans later on today.
7-0-7, the final KDA. Picked up a book just for good measure as well to wrap things up. And yeah, this is what's fun about all of these teams kind of playing together one by one in the full round robin over the course of a day. Teams might be watching this game and their draft prep just all of a sudden changes. We get a look at some new players.
Yeah, I will say, looking back, I think Saber took himself out of the fight pretty early, but I really like how OMG at least tried to play around Wako. And then we had the rinse and repeat fight, and this was one where we just never really saw the carries able to get in there. Again, Saber Wako just way far away from the fight, and that really felt like a common theme this game. Some praise to Hong and using those equalizers to split up the front and back lines of Ultra Prime, but again, just didn't see Ultra Prime really come together and actually pick the same target throughout this game. And when that happens at this level of play, you make the game pretty hard on yourself.
Yeah, a lot of fights around the topside river as we talked about that. That did really well.
Yeah.
For OMG. We'll say, some of these newer players for Ultra Prime thought that they had some decent showings. That was a really nice ultimate from Rossi Love there on the Rakan. Saber, I think, was a standout performer overall for this team this game. So some things to look forward to. Again, younger players, a lot of in-house promotions, a lot of just LDL promotions. So it might take a little bit for this team to really get to full force.
Yeah, and the back half of this game is rather rough for Rossi Love. But hey, Ultra Prime, they got 2 games later on in the day. I believe they play the last 2 games of the day. Meanwhile, OMG, a part of our first 3 games of the day. So we'll see if the team where their logo looks like the rising sun can keep on rising up early on in the day and keep on putting it together good performances. As, again, really nice start from them.
Yeah. I mean, that's all you can ask for. A very clean, dominant Game 1 win. Go up to 1-0. And again, in terms of stakes for the rest of the group, they control their own destiny the rest of the way. If they win out, they will, lock themselves up a spot in the quarterfinals, even though you could argue how realistic that can be with this team playing up against anyone's legends. We're going to see that a little bit later today and see how possible that really is. Our next game of the day will be our other 2 teams playing with Super Gaming from the Legends Cup playing against
I can't read. But when they showed the schedule, I thought it was like the left first 3 and then the right next 3. But no, I can't read.
Yeah. I think it's nice that we get to just see all 4 of the teams in the group immediately, straight up. I'm very excited for this Anyone Legends squad. Seeing what Flandre and Tarzan can do with the rest of the core that ended up finishing top 6 in the LPL last season. I think this is a sleeper contender to finishing towards the top of the standings.
Yeah, and speaking of sleeper, they get to debut against the old man team, so that's rather nice for them too.
Definitely. I think
we'll see if it's super gaming or sleeper gaming, Grapes. That's what our next game's going to be,
Yeah, we'll see. It might be late for us, but I guess not necessarily late for them in China. So not bedtime for super gaming just yet. As we take a look at our player of the game, it is Hung on the Rumble Jungle. Looks like the broadcast agreed with us there. Just really fun performance, again, from a player who didn't necessarily have a ton of expectations for coming into 2025.
No, great flex. Opened up his top laner to utilize a winning matchup as well, and then he just smoked the other junglers. So win-win across the board. Well-deserved player of the game.
Yeah, and I believe we are ready for a quick break before we hop into our next game. Anyone Legends versus Super Gaming. We're going to see the other 2 teams here in Group B of the Demacia Cup. We'll see you in a few.